Sunday Debate with Arnab Goswami, powered by Ola and Kent RO.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sunday Debate. I'm sorry for my absence for a couple of weeks now. And as we are making a return to the Sunday Debate this week, the topic that I want to discuss at length in the course of today's debate has been, especially after the abrogation of 370, been a little bit of a pattern. It's an undercurrent, it's a phenomenon that has choppily been discussed through several weeks, but we haven't really got the time to go to the nub of the issue, which is why I thought that on this Sunday it is time to do that. And this is something that is truly close to my heart, and therefore I'd like to introduce the hashtag right on top, and the hashtag is the media debate. The media debate. And let me explain this. This is about my own profession. At the core of this debate is that journalism is not speaking without fact. At the core of this debate is that journalism is not a platform for venting unsubstantiated opinion. At the core of this debate is a belief that journalism is not the presentation and broadcasting of narratives without any basis, without any facts, and therefore also without any accountability. And at the core of this debate on this Sunday is the belief that journalism is certainly not about amplifying. It's not an amplifying platform for those people with compulsions and pledged allegiance to different interest groups. Journalism and the job of the media is to put out information that is verified. And the only pillar to be true is to be true to the pillar of truth. And that is why, irrespective of side, ideologies, beliefs, frustrations, and I have my own side. I have my own ideology, I have my own beliefs, and I have my own frustrations, but I will not allow those to compromise my profession. And therefore, at the outset today, I'm discussing this subject as an Indian nationalist journalist who believes that it is time to look objectively at the misplacement of fact by certain Indian journalists and media houses today. And because of that, they should not bracket me as a left-winger or right-winger or whatever other winger, because I believe that journalism is based on nationalism, and nationalism is not an antonym or a juxtaposition to facts. The narrative that has been fed, and I'm giving a long introduction today, for about 6 years now, is that you can use the media and you can pretend to be a journalist irrespective of facts, so long as you are ranting negatively about the nation. And at the outset, I state I will not be unbiased in those cases, because being anti-national cannot substitute for not having facts. And with that long introduction, let me get to the core of the questions I'm asking on the Sunday debate. One, and especially in the context of 370, the first question we must ask ourselves is today, is there a cabal within the media that has formed an anti-India hypothesis and tried to retrofit the facts to abuse the nation? Question number one. You know, the hypothesis of Muslims being under mass attack. The hypothesis of people from certain castes being given second-class status in this country. The hypothesis of the RSS being the leader of a murderous onslaught within the country, of institutions being in danger, judiciary being an arm of the government, you can't eat or wear what you want. All these hypotheses, all retrofitting by a bunch of frustrated people who somehow could not have, through the Congress and its affiliated parties, a stranglehold on power in Delhi. Point number one. Point number two, is this cabal, which is there within the Indian media, compelled and motivated to sell a negative image of the country? You know, and I'm not going to instances and question that, but when you look at someone as ill-informed, but who's profited from being ill-informed like Arundhati Roy, then you ask yourself, is there a motivation behind what she does? Because today she's neither a journalist nor an author, somewhere in between, but certainly consistently anti-national on all occasions. Is there a compulsion behind that? And finally, of course, is this cabal of the media being used to sell, in the context of 370, an anti-India agenda? You know, and if so, I hate to say this, but I will say it, what do they get in return? Is there something they're getting in return? Relevance, perhaps. Maybe not material or kind or cash. Relevance, perhaps. And I know that some of you will find my position very strong, and hence I have been extremely fair, and I have put only 4 people on this side against 5 against me. And so I'll give you all your chance to speak. To my left, leading one side of the media. No epithets here, but one section which I disagree with is Rahul Singh, senior journalist. Thank you, Rahul. Nitin Saxena, senior journalist and author, first time on the debate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saira Shah Halim, welcome back. Majid Haidari, welcome back. You know that you're allowed to speak more on this channel, though we disagree the most with you. And Atikur Rahman, Islamic scholar, is on the debate. And on the right-hand side, though this has nothing to do with Islam or Hinduism, let me make it clear. On the right-hand side is Tuhin Sinha, emerging young spokesperson of the BJP. Abhijit Iyer Mitra, known for the various noises he makes on my recent programs. Writer and defense expert, uninhibited person. As you know, nothing can correct him. Even he went to jail and came out of it, he could still not be corrected. That's Abhijit Iyer Mitra for you, defense expert and writer. Rajalakshmi Joshi, making her first appearance on my debate, is a blogger and activist. And Savio Rodriguez is the founder and editor-in-chief of the Goa Chronicle, one of our activist journalists. We are proud of his work. Thank you very much, Savio. Now, both sides will open their debate. 2 minutes on each side. I put one question at the start, so you can take it from there. My first question will be that, is the media being used to retrofit to a hypothesis against the country? Which side would like to start? One spokesperson from each side. 2 minutes uninterrupted time is what you get. Who would like to start? Which side? First decide which side.
Since we have four, let us start.
Would you let them start?
Yes.
Would you let them attack first? Okay, we let the attack go first. And who from the right wing?
Yeah.
Okay, Tuhin Sinha.
So Arnab, there are two sources of fake news. One is external, the other is internal.
Yes.
The external news emanates from our neighbor, a low-life neighbor, Pakistan. The biggest fake narrative which history has known is probably the two-nation theory propounded by Jinnah. Unfortunately, even till date, Pakistan refuses to correct that fakery, and all of the fake news which it peddles is around that mindset. But what we have seen in the last 2 or 3 years, or last 5 years rather, is that some Indians, out of their hostility for the present government, seem to be more in sync with the Pakistan mindset, and they seem to be peddling the same kind of fake narrative in India. While there are lesser activists or lesser peddlers of fake news like Arundhati Roy, Kavita Krishnan, Rana Ayub, Prashant Bhushan, the fact is the kingpin of this fake news peddling business is a man who goes by the name of Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah.
4 months ago, he had to apologize to the Supreme Court for distorting a ruling in the Rafale case. In fact, if you still study most of the charges he made on the Rafale case that were based either on his ignorance or on a deliberate intent to mislead the people. And he continues to do that. Just 2 weeks ago, in the middle of the CWC meeting, he comes out and says there has been mass violence in Kashmir and the government should answer. The next day, Imran Khan picks up that news and starts peddling this narrative that Kashmir is under siege and there are all kinds of violence. I'm sure Majid Haidari also picked up, not so much as some of the other activists like Shaila Rashid. But fact is that this fake news peddling today has been institutionalized by a section of the people, and it is harming India's interests. I don't know why they're doing it. Either it is deliberate ignorance or the fact that they are hostile to this present government, that the hostility to the present government has turned into a hostility for the country.
2 minutes. On the other side.
Okay.
Who's opening on this side?
Let me open. So I would like to say this to Heen. Here we have BBC, TRT, Al Jazeera, Washington Post, New York Times. You mean to say all international journalism are carrying out a fake narrative?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you trying to say
She's got 2 minutes. She's got 2 minutes.
Time. Please let me finish.
She's got 2 minutes.
Here we are hearing disturbing news. Okay, we stand by Indian Army, but tell me, can you look through this and say that all of these guys are carrying out a fake narrative and we are the righteous ones? So here, villagers have said, okay, don't beat us, shoot us. And BBC have full videographic evidence
of
to
what?
back their
Of
claim.
what?
I am not saying this. The villagers are saying that they
Which
were
villagers?
tortured.
How
The
many of them?
Kashmiri villagers,
How
the
many of
Kashmiri-
them
Arnab,
come
let
to me?
finish.
Oh, anyway, I'm
Arnab, you
sorry.
let Tuhin
I feel
finish,
like
please.
interrupting.
Please be fair. Okay?
I've never been fair,
So
but
here, can we be in La La Land and pretend all is well, where a segment of our people are alleging torture?
Right.
So we should
In
find
POK.
out, we should investigate, and we should not brush it off as just some nonsense mongering happening, because these are not your postcard news, it's not your Op India. This is BBC, this is Washington News, this is
And they're probably
TRT,
talking about
this is
POK
Al
and
Jazeera.
Balochistan.
And these are notable, let me tell you, these are notable papers, notable portals. They're just not your rumor mongers who are feeding on people's...
And they're talking about POK and Balochistan.
No, 1 second, let me finish, Tuhin. Your turn will come. Now tell me one thing. Whether a villager has died, whether a child has died, whether someone has been picked up. Okay, here a doctor had put up a signboard outside his house and saying this is not a protest, it is a request. Yet he was picked up. Now another man who's
The
gone
facts
on,
were proven
who's
to be
gone on
different
record,
in that case.
who has gone on record has said that his young son is missing, and all this BBC has taken adequate footage. Tell me, can we ignore this?
Okay.
Can we treat it as
Okay,
fake
10
news?
seconds,
Or should we investigate in the matter?
1 second. Saira, I'm letting you people, speak on both sides first, but I request you to understand that the organization that you're speaking about, the Boring Broadcasting Corporation funded by the British government, has precisely 0 people on the ground. I mean, if you're an organization running on the basis of stringers and retainers, and you think that anything that they pass off as WhatsApp videos is the truth, then you ought to be fooling yourself. Let me instigate the debate with a couple of facts out here. You spoke about facts, and my first point is on the lies regarding Kashmir. And my question is to this side. Can I please to them, and then you can come in, right? See, I feel that this cabal of the media, this BBC Lutyens cabal, has exploited Kashmir to spread lies, to foster a divide, and to mislead unapologetically. Look at some of the untruths that they have spread. And had I put out untruths like this, you would be standing outside my office with a placard to close me down. On 13th August, there's a Lutyens-based news outlet which publishes an article titled Upscale Srinagar Neighborhood in Viral BBC Video is the New Protest Hub on Article 370. Not once did it question where that raw footage came from, where the rest of the raw footage was, what was the length of the raw footage. If I put out a video, even that of ISIS terrorists, in Hyderabad, I'm always told that, you've edited the video or not, because, the Owaisi party is opposing it. Unless you show me the entire raw footage. They even asked for the source of my camera. They wanted my instrument. They wanted my camera with which I shot it. Otherwise, they wouldn't believe the video. But you believe a video without knowing its source? Please understand, what journalism are you talking about? You assume that the BBC, what it says is right. There are media portals that are publishing articles titled Kashmir 3 weeks of living under normalcy, quote unquote, that claim that Kashmiris are being sidelined, humiliated, discredited and arrested. Not once does it mention how terrorists are the ones who are issuing threats on a regular basis to shut shops, offices and markets in Kashmir. There were Hizbul protests in Kulgam that said, कोई भी विल्ली में कोई भी दुकान खुली नहीं होनी चाहिए, and threatened saying अगर किसी ने इन बातों पर अमल नहीं किया तो इसका जिम्मेदार वो खुद होगा. There are multiple Lashkar posters in Sopore from 20th August to 29 August which say अब आखिरी बार हम दुकानदारों को warning देते हैं. Now you tell me, who is disturbing the normalcy? If I report it, you say I'm anti-Lashkar. Of course I will be. I have just proven to you, you've spread lies and lies and lies. There has to be a limit to spreading the lies.
I'll start with this couplet, बोल के लब आजाद है तेरे, बोल के तू आजाद है. In journalism, we are taught that facts are sacred, comment is free. But the distortion
So what about the facts of these organizations?
Not only giving fake news, it's also giving hate news. Because I live in the country, sir.
Savio,
don't pounce upon me.
Savio,
don't pounce upon me.
Savio and Majid. Savio and Majid on the debate.
I'll give you the fact. No, stop heckling. Stop heckling. Stop heckling Muslims. Stop heckling Muslims. Stop heckling Muslims here.
Don't get a Muslim angle in this.
Stop heckling.
Don't get a Muslim angle in this.
We don't distort. Let me conclude.
We don't care about.
You listen to me, then you pounce upon me. You lynch me. You kindly listen to me for 30 seconds.
I will not listen to you.
I'll take 30 seconds.
You lie.
I live in the country. I live in the country.
Spreading hate does not mean.
Let you bear me for 30 seconds. Let you bear me for. Have some decency. Have some decency.
BBC.
Let me tell you.
How do you take the BBC as the gospel truth?
Right in the show.
Okay, only Majid is on the debate, please.
Country
Atik,
where terror kingpin. I live in the country where terror kingpin is You have made Chidambaram villain because you are supporting BJP, RSS, and you are talking to me. Sarvi Pragya becomes an honorable MP, terror kingpin, and then you are these days maligning the image of P. Chidambaram because he exposed that saffron terror. What are you talking about?
You shouldn't be
do you think? No, I was
believe your government. You don't.
No, let him defend him. Let him defend himself. Let him defend himself. Majid, just to make a point to you, listen to me. Majid, you know, you are responding to Savio. Savio, let me intervene. Savio, minute's intervention. Majid, may I? Majid, may I? Majid, don't speak over. Majid, I can understand.
Is jailed without bail.
Savio.
It is only because of the media bias.
Majid,
you people don't have any right to talk about Kashmir. What do you know about
Majid.
We have lost our identity, our integrity, our right to our constitutional rights, our fundamental rights. Is this a sin that if we speak truth against government, is speaking truth against government committing a crime? What are you talking about?
Silence! One of you, gentlemen, Majid.
Let me ask this.
Savio, 1 minute. Doin, ask him.
Is this wrong?
Saira, pull back. Saira, you pull back. Don't.
Government anti-national.
Majid, you lost your
Majid.
I'll tell you why you lost
Majid.
Or should I peddle lies just to appease RSS and people like him?
I'll tell you why you lost your identity.
Okay. Savio, Toin is on the debate. Silence, everyone. Now you know what? Okay.
You lost your identity.
I will.
You are sounding like poultry chickens. You are sounding like a poultry farm. You organize yourself. You are sounding like a poultry farm.
You said you lost
Let one of you talk.
Okay. Majid and Atik. Wait. See, Majid, Atik, Tohin, and especially Saira. See, I am trying to allow at the most.
No, they sabotage us.
Can you stop? Majid, now you're sabotaging me. Just a minute. We had a good start. Savio.
What? We are not talking any Kashmiri.
Savio, let me come in. See, Majid.
You have sabotaged the rights of Muslim. You are exposed.
Majid.
This is how you media people work.
Indians.
I am a human first. I am a human first.
Majid, just
No, Tohin, you wait, no? Yeah. Please wait, no? See, Majid,
I don't care.
Majid, one listen here. See,
You shouldn't, sir.
Atik, this is what I call heckling. When you just say two words from one side to one person there, I am very interested in a serious debate today. This debate is close to my heart. We can have a sensible debate.
But they are not allowing us. They didn't allow us to
see, you
speak.
didn't let me complete what I said. That's the problem. If you learn to listen, you will speak better. I genuinely think so. So please listen and then speak better. But do not at one time, not more than one person from one side. The lack of discipline in both the sides is going to affect the quality of the debate. I'm telling you, it's a Sunday. People have time to listen and they are listening to this debate. Do you want them to get away feeling that we had great panelists, a great opportunity to debate something, but we didn't actually hear the debate? So, Majid, you know, there are other people on this side. They have not spoken. Allow them to speak. And Saira, you don't have to give covering fire to Majid. So just pull back for a minute. We go back on the issues. We spoke about the lies on Kashmir. Thank you. When we speak about the lies of Kashmir, yesterday, Abhijit, and I'm deliberately trying to draw Abhijit, Rajlakshmi, on the one side, Nitin and Rahul on the other, because they've not spoken. You see, yesterday, Abhijit, there's a media outlet operating out of Khan Market, which published an article titled, quote, how children are being picked up in night raids across Kashmir. Yeah. Now, when I see that headline, I have an image in my mind. And the imagery is deliberately being created with these clickbaitish headlines.
Why are you not concerned about those youths? Why are you not concerned about those youths? Why is your channel not reporting about the atrocities on Kashmir?
Majid.
Why are you not talking about the communication blockade?
Majid, either you concede that at the end of my sentence you will not be able to speak. Otherwise, there's no sensible reason for you to cut me mid-sentence. As I was saying, I was just about to tell you why I won't believe. Because an imagery goes in my mind that the terrible government of India and the terrible Indian army are a bunch of child lifters who every night, like evil spirits, go across the streets of the Kashmir Valley, pick up little children and kill them. This is the imagery which is being created. Now, what is the reality behind that headline? It claims, that article claims to quote, Abhijit, supposed residents of Baramulla after changing their names. And says that in turn it's not its own journalism. It is based on a supposed fact-finding by a team led by Kavita Krishnan and John Rez, who claim to have met some of these people. So there is no named source, all unnamed sources and no original journalism. Yet the media portal puts out a headline which says the Indian Army goes and picks up children. I don't think there's anything more unethical than this. And trying to pass it off as journalism, it is worse than hearsay. Abhijit, please come into the debate.
Abhijit ji, there is only embedded journalism working in Kashmir. The government is guiding them.
Let me talk. So let's just examine the antecedents of these news organizations that Saira ji talked about, CNN, TRT and all of that. TRT I'm not even going to get into because it comes under Erdogan, who's imprisoned most of his teachers, journalists and everyone in his state. I think anybody holding up TRT as a benchmark is very wrong. But let's look at CNN, BBC, Washington Post and all of that. Washington Post and New York Times were at the head of that fake news factory that produced the Iraq war, that killed off 250,000 Iraqis, and these were the cheerleaders that wanted Bush to go in there, never questioned him till later, and then they had a little catharsis and said, oh.
Sir, you have
allow him to complete. Allow him to complete. We are making Majid, this is not a Majid, listen, Majid.
They gave the stamp of respectability to the killing of 250,000 Iraqi children and the stunting of God knows how many million more. This is the same BBC that we're talking about. Tim Sebastian, if you recall, during the first Gulf War, when the southern Shias started revolting, he made up complete nonsense news about a great uprising happening in Basra, which then was all meant to enable the Western forces to go in there and occupy that city. He made this up on screen by himself. He admits to it. This was also the same BBC that supported the NATO bombing of Serbian TV in Kosovo, saying it was a necessary evil. This is the BBC we're talking about. CNN. First of all, they got their predictions wrong and Trump is still laughing about it 3 years later. Then this is the same CNN that ran Russiagate and has egg on its face. They still continue to run Russiagate even though the official investigation is clear. What
Justice Abhijit, if you have completed...
There are others on your side. Majid, there are other speakers on your side. Let me anchor the program now. Thank you.
This is the kind of nonsense we have come to expect from the Washington Post. I'm sorry to say this, but this whole thing of looking up to the Western media, BBC, New York Times or Washington Post is entirely a colonial slave mentality of brown coolies looking up to white trash. And let's be clear, these are inbred trailer park white trash. Nothing more. They've got the veneer of social respectability because they run this whole club where they confer social respectability on each other. Oh, Tuhin, you're my dear friend, therefore you're a great intellectual. But you know, the great thing about this, Arnab, is, and let's bring this back to
Sir, enough of your lecture now. Let you throw light on the villainization.
Majid, there are others on your side. Majid, there are other speakers on your team.
No, why will he only speak?
The great thing about them idealizing Shah Faisal, total duffers like Shah Faisal and Arundhati Roy as the next intellectuals is, it is the law of diminishing returns that's going to come to haunt them because they are going to make fools of themselves.
And speaking of Shah Faisal, on the 17th of August, Rahul, and please hear me on this one, Nitin, a Lutyens media portal tweeted, over 100 people associated with Harvard University expressed solidarity for Kashmir and urged the Indian government to release Shah Faisal. What actually happened? This was countered by Harvard alum Abhishek Singh, who said, this was shared on a Harvard alum group. I am a part of it. Majority of members did not agree with the petition and advised a few friends and classmates of Shah Faisal against sharing it with the media. So, you know, I am appalled at the level of fake news which is being spread. Rahul and Nitin and everyone, including you, Atik, such fake news passes only when you are desperate. And my view has been that when 370 happened, a certain lobby opposed to the BJP hoped against hope that there would be riots in Kashmir, there'd be lawlessness in Kashmir, there'd be terrorist attacks. Some people are even suggesting on TV how to carry out terrorist attacks. The question here is that none of that happened. As the days and weeks pass, this group of people whose only cottage industry was Kashmir are beginning to think, what is going to come of us? Where are our jobs? What are we going to do? And perhaps that is why they are spreading the fake news. Do you agree with me?
Let me pose one question.
Yes.
If you want a true picture of what's happening in Kashmir, why don't you let the BBC and other media go there and see and tell us what's happening there? Why don't you allow them to go? why is the internet being totally closed? Why is communication not being allowed?
You know the answer.
I don't know the answer.
Can I dare to suggest
Yeah.
to you? And then maybe Rajlakshmi, if you want to take that forward. Rahul, you are, I'm sure, a proud and nationalist and patriotic
We are all
Indian.
nationalists here.
Yes, no, I am sure.
Please, we are
I
all
said I'm sure.
nationalists here.
No, because
From
nowadays
that
there is
side
this
and this side,
No,
we're all
because
nationalists.
nowadays there is this, this fake martyr act that people put up. Are you questioning my nationalism? No, I'm not. Which is why I began with that preface. What I'm saying to you is, as a proud nationalist Indian, are you not aware that there's a genuine security situation in Kashmir? One, genuinely there's been Pakistani interference. Two, genuinely our forces are under attack. Three, genuinely there has been terrorism sponsored from across the border, and hence, Rahul, we have to be utterly and completely careful to the point of being paranoid for some time. And the government has said with certainty, once this period ends, there will be complete normalcy. Elections will be held.
But then how
there will be a chief minister of Jammu and Kashmir, but it takes a time. Now, people like Ramachandra Guha and Arundhati Roy, I would beg to place before you, have no idea how a country is supposed to be run.
No, but
it's all good to be in your airy-fairy land, going to Westminster University and saying that Bangladesh was never created because Pakistan army is just too loving to hurt anyone. But another thing to run the country. Now, Mr. Doval has a tough job on his hands. You can make fun of it. But the fact is, Mr. Doval is going out there. He has a challenge. Maintain law and order. Reach out to people at the same time. Be sensitive. Slowly begin to improve. Take off the restrictions and ensure that the WhatsApp university is not used. When you know that Pakistan has launched a fake news war campaign on India, would some unsuspecting, gullible 15-year-old, 16-year-old boy in Kashmir not get motivated with the kind of lies being spread from the ISI and its chief in Pakistan? We are protecting the people of Kashmir from those dangerous influences.
No, but what's wrong with the independent media going to Kashmir and giving us the true picture?
You mean to say, Rajalakshmi,
Yeah.
no, one second. So you come to a conclusion that a media house based in Mumbai and Delhi is not independent media, but somebody who has just been kicked out of Bush House, which, by the way, has now been taken over by King's College, London, because the BBC could not afford to stay in that organization despite state support, despite state. I'm just making an aside at the BBC. Whatever. And no, I'm not. I may not be a good one.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that you cannot be sitting in London and claim to know more about Kashmir than all the Indian media organizations here. Why should you not believe the Indian media organizations?
The BBC has got enormous credibility. In the Bangladesh war,
that's my problem.
If you
No. So we have a fundamental disagreement.
You might be. You're probably too young.
No. He's taking a side up. One more.
Yeah.
Rahul, continue. I will let Rahul continue. Rahul say.
You're probably too young to know, but during the Bangladesh war,
Sir.
the BBC World Service was listened to by every Bangladeshi and Indians to know what the true picture was.
Sir, dare I say to you that I admit to you that I was not born at the time of the Bangladesh war, but I can tell you, sir, that all the Indian media organizations which have been born and brought up since the 90s are mature enough to report on this country, and you should not be patronizing to people who may not have been born. May I also tell you, sir, that 70% of this country was not born, or at least 60% of it at the time of the Bangladesh war. So please don't run down almost, 3/4 of a billion people.
I'm trying to make you more knowledgeable.
Sir, thank you. Sir, I say, have a Western media fetish, sir. You have a Western media fetish and I don't. That's what differentiates. Sir, come on, into the debate. Raj Lakshmi is on the debate. I'm getting her in. Raj Lakshmi, what do you think?
It really appalls me that, so many of us so-called intellectuals, we look up to the Western media for authenticity. Like you said, why don't we get independent media to come there and cover? And what about all the people that, what about all the reports that are coming out already? And the second part of what you are saying is about the internet. Now, the fake news, if you look at the kind of fake news that is being put up, fake news doesn't only mean that something is totally false. what most of all these media houses that you are talking about, whether it is Al Jazeera, whether it is about BBC, or whether it is about even our Indian houses like Indian Express, what they are doing is they are twisting some facts. They're trying to create some fake perceptions. They're trying to put up doctored videos. And
which
you're
which
believing
media
that.
houses?
You rather believe that.
No, which media houses?
Which media houses?
Which major media houses are putting out
Al Jazeera is putting
fake news?
out posts of some things that are happening in POK. They're not talking about some things that is happening in Kashmir. And you want people to believe that that is exactly what is happening?
Let the Kashmiri people speak.
Let me
It's
speak
not
also
all-
today.
Okay,
This is
Nitin,
not race, this is
Nitin
complete
Saxena is sufficiently
communication
provoked.
blackout. No internet, no WhatsApp, no internet, no
Saira, there is a man.
No,
Saira, there is a man sitting to your right. Saira, Miss Halim, Miss Halim.
You are heckling the only Kashmiri panelist on the show.
Nobody's heckled it.
It's not about Kashmir. You're talking about Indian. You're talking about Indian.
Let Rajlakshmi complete. Rajlakshmi is completing. Please, Saira.
We are going
Rajlakshmi,
to
continue.
decide for the Kashmiris what is happening there on ground. See, while sitting in Mumbai, while sitting in Calcutta, while sitting in Delhi.
We are deciding for India, not Kashmir.
Only Kashmiri panelist.
Sir,
No, it's Kashmir.
okay.
You have issues.
You have to answer the question.
Sir, I would like to come in. Atik, for God's sake, don't you hear me bellowing my lungs out at you?
About India.
The government is
Atik, please.
Kashmir is a part of
It's
India.
a
You don't
question
need
of
to yell.
Kashmir.
Savio, I used to be a civilized man once. 1 minute, till all of you came into my life, and that's when things changed. I was soft-spoken. I was empathetic and understanding.
don't believe that.
I sir, believe me. 1 minute. I want to make a point here. You see, now these people have basically been saying, lift the restrictions. Let's come to it, right? They are saying, we are the Democrats. We want you to lift the restrictions. You are the tyrants. You are the Sanghis. You don't want to lift the restrictions. You want to suppress people. We want to make people express themselves. Now, here's a simple point and a counter to it. I need you to think, Nitin, see, we cannot revoke the restrictions because any transition to complete normalcy requires an incubation period. In that incubation period, first there is an intervention, then there is incubation, and then, of course, we will begin to ease the restrictions. See, when Ukraine deployed in April 2014, 12,000 troops in its eastern province as a part of a large-scale anti-terrorist operation against the pro-Russian forces. Following the Easter blast, you remember, in Sri Lanka, 290 people killed. What did Sri Lanka do? Did it say, no, don't worry, continue life as normal? No. The government...
have 25 days of continuous communication.
Sir, let me... Can
there be a clampdown?
No, Majid, if you stop shouting, Majid, Saira, wait, Majid, look at Saira, what are you doing? Saira, you've gone crazy.
He has countered this fake news which is being peddled. There is no medical emergency.
A journalist
In fact, Arnab, I think on the show, you should also applaud the good work which is being done.
Abhijit, don't speak together. Sir, don't speak together. First of all, Saira and Majid, you are both loud and expressive, impetuous and ill-researched. Majid, please wait. You have asked a question, and problem is, if you're asking a question, then you prepare to be guillotined. I'm about to guillotine you. Wait silently. When you go on the guillotine, you are not allowed to speak.
Let me put forth
Majid, you are Majid. You can't keep saying, let me, and refuse to listen. Listen to me. I was making a point to Nitin. Right? You are not Nitin. You may want to be Nitin, but you're not.
Yes.
Now, Nitin, listen to me. These people say, restore things, restore things, restore things. I said when 290 people were killed in Sri Lanka, how many thousands of people have been killed in Kashmir, but only 290 people were killed in Sri Lanka. The government enforced an absolute emergency across the entire country. April 2019. And on 22nd of July, it extended it for a 4th month. It takes time. You need to crack down, restore law and order, establish the rule of law, and then lift restrictions. Now my point is...
There is extrajudicial emergency in Kashmir.
Hey, listen,
Don't defool the nation. Honorable Supreme Court says you cannot deprive a citizen of the right to internet.
I'm speaking to Nitin. You're not Nitin. You are not Nitin.
For the past 1 month,
Nitin, kindly, Majid, that's the problem with you Kashmiri separatists. Nitin. One point and then I hand over to you. You remember the Paris attacks in November 2015. France had declared a state of emergency. Perhaps it would be good of you to make people remember that state of emergency in France, across all of France, lasted 2 years and 5 months and only was lifted on 1st November 2017. You know, France is also a democracy, a fairly vibrant one at that. In fact, most of these NGOs love to travel to France free of cost. The question is, if what applies in France, Sri Lanka and Ukraine, has to apply to India and to Kashmir as well. Kashmir is not on another planet. Please.
First of all, let me tell you, aggression has become into a passion for journalists, right? And fake news, what we are talking about, and the tyranny now being done in Kashmir is to be probed. Somebody is hiding the truth. And every journalist who goes there, every portal which goes there...
Which portal?
Maybe it's Print, maybe it's Quint, anybody who's going there.
Print and Quint? You genuinely believe that Print and Quint represent
you, these are the people who are actually going there. And if you say that these are the guys who have been funded by the party or funded by the country, by the...
Okay, tell me one thing, Nitin. Let me have a serious conversation with you. Do you believe in this magazine called The Caravan?
Caravan?
You never heard of it? I'm not surprised.
I worked with them once upon a time.
You have, is it?
Yeah.
Then The Caravan used the abrogation of Article 370 to spin stories such as the following. Listen to me. Quote, for Modi and the RSS, Kashmir is a tool to consolidate their hold over twice-born castes. Caste. They link 370 to caste. Now, since you launched a harangue on journalism, can I ask you, were you aware that magazine you once worked for made our martyrs a tally for a caste census? That after Pulwama, they actually tried to spin a narrative about a caste divide in our forces, and some person there said he was tracking the caste background of the 40 CRPF martyrs whose deaths were confirmed immediately after the attack. So they were trying to understand the caste background of the martyrs. You call that journalism? I call that using the media to fit a dirty hypothesis.
Everybody is doing the same.
No, they are
doing it.
No, since these are your gospel angels. You worship these organizations.
No, this is just called aggressive journalism in which everybody is repetitive. And you are telling me that these guys...
Okay, aggressive journalism. And since you said also you believe the BBC, tell me you believe the BBC or not. Do you believe or not disbelieve the BBC?
The Indian journalism also.
Do you believe the BBC? Do you believe the BBC? Do you believe the boring broadcasting corporation?
No, are they not as fake as BBC?
Okay.
You tell me one thing.
Do you believe the BBC?
How many people have gone?
Do you believe the BBC?
I do not believe the BBC, nor do I believe the Indian clippings which are coming
I'm glad you don't believe the BBC because they just said...
I don't.
This week they said that in India you're not allowed to read Leo Tolstoy, which is the biggest piece of fake news, quoted very admirably and loyally by a bunch of unsuspecting Indian trolls on this side.
We are not debating on what to believe.
I am debating
We are debating on what exactly is being done in Kashmir and why are the reports not coming to us. We are talking about that.
If you don't believe Indian media, if you
don't believe
BBC, the only other way is to travel.
Because Indian media is showing something which is far away from the...
why that Indian media was necessary. Let me explain.
Indian media is showing something which is far away from the ground reality.
From the ground reality. Necessary because of the behavior of Mehbooba Mufti and Omar Abdullah for the last 1 year. Just figure out how many incendiary statements she has made. She has provoked Indians by saying the moment you repeal Article 35A, Kashmir's relation with India would end.
You are not ready to listen.
This was why this internet clampdown was required.
Why don't you say? that the Indian media is also fake. They are being tutored. They are being dictated by the powers that be. You have to believe in that also. You're wrong. You're wrong.
In case why news which was peddled by Omar Abdullah, he quotes. He puts forth a screenshot and says the Srinagar to Delhi flight is worth 44,000. And then when you look at the screenshot, you figure out that that's the fare for 2 adults and 2 children. I don't know who he wanted to travel
I also want to ask you, Nitin, see, I would love an informed argument. One second.
Sir Mark Tully to go as the head of a BBC team to Kashmir.
What
about the credibility
what are you
of
saying?
Mark Tully?
I tell you one thing, sir. Sir, I tell you one thing. One minute.
But would you let him go?
What makes him credible?
You know why? Because the chairman of the BBC...
He was never kicked out of the BBC.
He was kicked out of the BBC. He was kicked out because the new chairman of the BBC couldn't deal with Mark Tully.
No.
Okay, may I say one thing?
It's basically a bunch of unemployables on a government dole.
Okay,
you trust the BBC as much as you trust an MI6 or MI5.
So may I say one thing to you, sir? Mark Tully is not in my time. And as far as my time is concerned, I'm concerned about the press. I have great respect for Sir Mark Tully. But may I say this, that while he was good and doing feature stories 40 years back for the BBC, we are talking about 2019. In 2019, I will speak about the present. You have put allegations out here which I don't find acceptable or defendable. You have said that the judiciary is in the government's pocket, which is a lie. You have retrofitted facts on books referred to in Bhima Koregaon case. You have said that War and Peace is anti-national, which is a lie. In the Just Loya case, the same media huddled in Delhi, Abhijit, you know about it, Tuhin. Let's speak up. Why holding yourself back? The same media huddled in Delhi, so desperate to spin a narrative before the elections about bias in the judiciary in the Loya case, that they used a press conference on an internal dispute within judges to say, Loya case, the tipping point, 4 Supreme Court judges say democracy is in danger. Where is that democracy in danger brigade? You have questioned the integrity of the court. So-called journalists questioned the credibility of the court in the Sohrabuddin case and said, call records of Shah, internal notes by CID, forensic report, witness statements, do nothing. You have retrofitted facts.
Rani Mukherjee case, can you throw light on P. Chidambaram case? Kindly do it.
Well, in Rani Mukherjee case, I broke, so I can.
A section of Indian media is this time trusting a supposedly vamp who murdered her daughter, but they are not willing to accept the
1 minute. Rajalakshmi, this is crossing the line.
You cannot.
The media is supporting. There is a saffron ink. There is a saffron ink guiding the media. There is a saffron ink guiding the media.
That's it.
There is no black. There is no black beauty in media ink now. It is the saffron ink.
There is a case against her.
You throw light, Mr. Abhijit. You throw light on the case of P. Chidambaram. Throw light on case of Indrani Mukherjee. Throw light on case of villainization of the by media. How has Jawaharlal Nehru overnight become a villain? How has Rahul Gandhi overnight become a villain? Is it not media propaganda? Is it not fake news? Is it not dirty news? I don't call it fake news. I call it dirty news. Just written in saffron ink. Why can't you? If you don't have the cheek, you better leave the debate. You leave the debate one by one. We will show the viewers that we have won it.
Why should they leave the debate?
Let me talk here.
You will just speak.
Why do you want me to leave the debate? I want to talk.
Who are you to ask them to leave the debate?
No,
are you not showing the same?
If he can't talk, if he can't reply my questions, he better leave.
All criminals have a breaking point.
Let him complete.
All criminals have a breaking point. When I was in jail in Jharpada, it has an unusual number of serial killers in there. All right. And these guys would happily talk to me. One guy hacked off his wife's head. Another guy chopped his wife into 200 pieces. And after that, once they'd been caught, they would start singing like birds and talking. So the fact that Indrani Mukherjee killed her daughter has nothing to do with her truth or not. Because once you get caught, you start singing. That is the truth of the issue. So if she says that...
we are getting distracted. Thank you. Majid, let me anchor the show. See, I am asking you, Nitin, and I'm having a conversation. If you're watching, I'm not speaking over. I'm the most disciplined person here today.
Yeah.
But I am saying that, see, listen, you lost the elections. As in, like, I don't think the Congress lost the elections. I genuinely believe the liar wires, the fake scrolls, the caravans of lies, they'll also lost the elections. These were the people who actually put out tweets like this. I'll read out. They said, every minority identity that appears to stand in the way of homogeneous nationhood will come under attack. Only the Hindu upper caste male who speaks Hindi will have the sovereign privilege of not having to prove his Indianness. Then they went on to say the general elections will determine whether India becomes a Hindu first state with reduced civil liberties and intolerance of minorities. Now they went on and on and on and on and said that. And I have told them at each point of time, you are looking more and more and more desperate. You know, I caught them red-handed over their biggest lie, Nitin, which was the beef ban. You know, there was no beef ban at all. You know that nobody ever issued a beef ban in this country. Can you today, right now, before me, do a Google search and tell me how many articles were written all over the world saying in India there is a beef ban? You knew there was no beef ban. I want to ask the whole lot of you, how could you so openly spread the biggest lie about your country that there was a beef ban when you know fully well, there was only a cattle slaughter ban. There was never a beef ban. There was a cattle slaughter ban like there is one in France, like there is a cattle slaughter ban in the United States of America, lest I say also in Greenland and in Iceland. There is no beef ban. There is no beef ban. There is no beef ban. And you are again lying.
Into the fridges of people, that it's a ban.
However, there's a
when you peep into the fridges of people,
there's a beef ban in Rajasthan.
Ask
so
her.
anyone saying that doesn't know. There is a complete
can I talk from
beef ban.
Nitin, just say mea culpa. Say mea culpa. And say that yes, we were there backstabbing our own country. Say that while we pretended to be loyal, we were the Judases within. We are the backstabbers, the Judases, the Mir Jafars. We are people who abuse our country and lie about it. And also go on to quote for me the Kerala High Court, which said the following words about the beef ban. And it said, let me know, viewers, I'm being stopped. Saira is heckling me, viewers. Saira, unable to contest the integrity of my argument, is heckling me. Saira, you are a heckler. You are an unabashed heckler.
Point that you also make one point.
Okay, let's honor them. Was there a beef ban?
my goodness.
May I? May I?
Yeah, go on.
May I make a point?
Make it.
Yes, Mr. Nitin.
Cut to him.
Try to understand that I'm trying my level best to say something. I'm raising my hand.
Was there a beef ban?
Shouting also. No,
Was
one
there a
second.
beef ban?
But my voice is not being heard. This is the similar position in Kashmir, where the general, where the general voice is not being heard.
Can I give you a perspective to
No, let him speak.
Because I come from Goa.
Because it's not a show of lung power, it is a show of brains and finding out the truth, right? So
was there a beef
on the
ban?
beef ban?
Basically, here
we are
you're
not talking about beef ban, we are talking about the tyranny.
Subodh Kumar Singh and here Pehlu Khan's lynchers.
Saira, why don't you let him speak? Saira, you remind me of those students who I had unfortunately the opportunity to study with.
Subodh
You know
Kumar Singh's lynchers are garlanded.
You are like Saira.
And here we are oblivious to this.
Saira, you are like the irritating student in a chemistry class. You memorized all the organic chemistry questions, and even when you're not asked the question, are rhyming, reciting it. Saira, will you stop? Saira, please, I cannot control you. Will you stop, Saira? Please, let this man speak. Sir, you be quiet. Sir, you be quiet.
I'm a Christian, allow me to speak then. What is the Muslim got to do with it?
1% of the population.
Okay. Atik, a question being asked. What Savio asked? He's asking a question. 1 minute, please.
What is the difference between a beef
Who
ban?
are you asking the question to?
I'm asking you the question.
You are asking. No, then you tell her to stop. Saira, why are you not? Saira, no, I can't. Savio, do not engage. Savio, do not engage. Savio, do not engage. And Saira, let the anchor hold it.
Arnab a question. What is the difference between a beef ban and a ban on cow slaughter?
No, okay.
What is the difference? And
can I?
Are you allowed to keep beef in your Frigidaire or not?
Yes. No. Can I respond to his question? Just I'll tell you one sentence. First of all, why am I talking about a beef ban today? I'm talking about a beef ban because like people lied about a beef ban, people are lying about people being killed in Kashmir.
Correct.
Now you ask me, sir, what is the difference between a beef ban and a ban on cow slaughter? So the difference is, when there is a ban on slaughter, then basically you say that you don't ban the slaughter. You don't tell people to eat live cows. You say you can slaughter them in legal slaughterhouses, which means you will not provoke a Hindu by dragging a cow in the middle of a street. You can't take a cow to the middle of a street, cut the cow's neck, and let the cow bleed to death in the middle of the road, which is what the Congress.
No,
You know, Majid, I'm not speaking. Majid, I'm not speaking. Majid, I'm not speaking. Majid, I'm not.
If you feel the victim has been a Hindu, please don't get into this victim.
Sir, I continue explaining.
He has been begging to speak.
I continue explaining to Rahul ji, the point is.
Stop this Muslim
The point is.
Stop it.
So I'll do it.
Stop this Muslim nonsense.
I've been the victim.
They're all Indians here.
I've been the Kashmiri Muslim. I've been the worst victim, and I'll keep doing
They're all
it.
Indians here.
I'll expose you
Stop
always.
this Muslim
The likes
Hindu
of Queen
nonsense.
and you. I'll expose you all.
You will expose us?
Yes.
I will
I'll
expose you
all.
guys here.
You are
What is this,
exposed.
Arnab?
You didn't let a Kashmiri Muslim speak, sir. आप बात
अरे
कीजिए।
यार मुसलमान
भाई,
क्या
आप बात कीजिए।
जो मुसल का ईमान ही नहीं है आपके पास
You are saying there is no people.
I am only saying the following thing, that gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, there was no beef ban. You could have as much beef to your heart's content.
Not
you
in
could
the
just
fridges.
you could keep it in your fridges, in your microwaves. The only thing you could not do is that you couldn't kill an animal in the middle, in a place that is not a legal slaughterhouse.
But
this was the ban.
On a highway by the Gorakshaks.
Sir, you don't.
That's allowed.
No, you
can slaughter a Muslim.
PFI can kill.
You can slaughter a Muslim who has bought a cattle from a market.
Is that what
On a highway.
PFI
And
can
the
kill
Prime Minister proved it that these Gorakshaks are fake Gorakshaks. Your Prime Minister admitted it. You can slaughter the human beings. Not a cow.
What PM Modi spoke about?
That's the beef man, sir.
I have to raise. At this point, I have to ask you all. Ask you all.
Sorry, this is, I just want to show you this. I cooked this in 2018 at my house. This is beef tongue.
Stop it.
All right? This is beef tongue, 2018 in Delhi.
Stop it. This is not.
Can I show you this? This is beef tartar and veal in my house in Delhi. Sorry, at a restaurant in Delhi.
You know. Anyway. Now there are people.
At my house in Delhi.
One second.
कहाँ से beef ban
I
यार?
have a Muslim identity. I don't eat beef. I don't eat beef. But my Hindu friends eat beef. Let me tell you.
Anyway,
But
now I want to. Now I want to, Abhijit. Let's not get talked in trivialities.
Simple as that.
I by the way.
However, someone chooses to eat beef,
Saira, let me come back to Kashmir. And Saira, I request you now, you never used to be like this. The person I know used to be empathetic, largely silent, contributing very well to the debates, coming in with solid interventions and strong research. I sometimes wonder whether it is the company which has affected you or whether you affected the company. Now I say this, to those who say the BBC is credible, I must remind them today, sir, the BBC reportedly used fake footage for a Kashmir story in 1995 when there was an encounter between terrorists and the Indian security forces, ending up with a fire engulfing the Charare Sharif Shrine in Srinagar. The great Boring Broadcasting Corporation, now kicked out of Bush House, which has been rightly taken over by King's College, used stills from the Chechnya-Russia war to show the Indian operations in a bad light. They had to be called out by the Indian government. So don't tell me about the BBC anymore. Now, I've been thinking about this for a while. I need an intervention now. Essentially, in my mind, there is a checkbox. And no matter the story, the cabal within the media props up and is loyal not to the truth, not to the facts, but to its checkbox. And for the purpose of time, let me tell you the 3 checkboxes you have to tick in to be a member of this cabal. 1, love for Pakistan beyond belief. Just love Pakistan. We love Pakistan. Anything Pakistani, Qawwali food, people, ISI, culture, Litfest, anything, the soil of Pakistan. We love it. Secondly, you have an absolute, like Rahul has, a fetish for the Western media.
There will be a difference between
And the
a journalist and a saffron mouthpiece. There will always be a difference.
Third, I'm enjoying
Because
this.
we have one sitting there.
I'm
He has
enjoying
not been
this.
allowed
Thirdly,
to speak. Yes.
We can also say this.
I'm not a saffron mouthpiece, I'm an Indian mouthpiece.
1 second. Here you call us the Khan
problem is
Market
you see
gang.
things
We
in
can also
green
say
and
there's a
saffron.
Sanghi gang.
Look at it in
There's a
Tiranga.
Sanghi communal
Look at it in
gang.
Tiranga.
That is out there.
Look at it in Tiranga, my friend, not saffron.
That's out there to
Tiranga.
lynch people.
Tiranga,
So
look at it
there's
in
a
that way.
cabal out there. There's a cabal out there which is known as the Sanghi gang.
I
The
love Khan
Sanghi
markets.
gang has a coordinated
Now my third point is that they must.
my manicure, pedicure in Khan market.
The third point is that you have to have. Checkbox number 1.
Kashmir tragedy a laughable argument.
Checkbox number. They're not letting me. Majid, Tuin.
Since you said and spoke about the tyranny in Kashmir, let me address that. Let me.
Can I complete my checkboxes?
Innocents, and they clap their hands if people are being killed. If people are being killed.
Saira, I am the anchor of the program.
Because it favors if there is
Saira, please stop, man, please stop. For God's sake, you are behaving like Nishants today. I can't say anything worse than that.
Excuse to lynch people to death.
No, this is...
I am asking you. Can I come? See, this is very disorganized. Let me have an organized debate. One. I'll take one. So just wait. Saira and Nitin, please. Don't speak over it. First checkbox, love for Pakistan. Second checkbox, love for the Western media, fetish for them. Third is a very strong loyalty towards the Vadra Congress. Vadra Congress. The Vadra Congress.
Everyone here is a lover of humanity.
Okay.
And anyone who's a war monger needs to be shot. Because here the economy
You're the
is
one talking
rumbling.
about shooting
The
people now.
economy is collapsing. Do you think we can afford another war? Do you think we can afford another war? Here you're trying to create
Take the windows out.
war. You need a war economy. You need a war economy.
Can I?
Because here
Saira, you know. Saira.
People are losing their jobs.
Saira, you.
Kids are not selling.
Saira, 1 minute. Saira, 1 minute. Saira. I had 3 checkboxes. My first checkbox, and I want to hear from you. Rahul and Nitin, please, if I may, because you've not spoken much. First, I said love for Pakistan. And on that, my first thing is after Balakot. It was this very section of the media which said that new high-resolution satellite imagery suggests that the Balakot airstrike was a very precise miss. And it went on to write that publicly available imagery acquired by European space imaging the day after the strike suggests that the buildings at the camp were not visibly damaged or destroyed. Now, you know and I know this was proven to be wrong eventually. My question was, why did this group of people, who you call these portals, put out this version? What was their source? Who were they quoting? And when they were proven to be wrong, who did they apologize to? Nitin and Rahul.
Can I see your tick boxes? One is you said love for Pakistan.
Yes.
I think most of us here would like to have good relations with our neighbors.
Absolutely.
I think that's important.
And we don't become a lover of Pakistan for that.
We've got good relations with Bangladesh. We've got fairly good relations with Nepal. We've got good relations with Sri Lanka now. We must also have good relations with Pakistan. And
I was not talking about that.
Yeah, no, but
we would like to have. We would like to have good relations with Pakistan, if it were possible.
How do you make it possible?
By ending terrorism.
No, you make it also possible to have more people-to-people contact.
No, that's
no,
Absolutely, you must have more people.
Call out Pakistan's bluff, which you never do. That was the problem. In the between 2004 to 2014, just look at the difference between then and now. Every time we had an attack, we used to complain to the USA. We used to be crybabies. That has changed, and that is what has put Pakistan under the mat today.
See, I feel.
While you may love Pakistan food, you may love Pakistan literature, whatever, you never called out Pakistan for all the terror attacks, for all the nefarious activities.
No. Let me put a writer to it. Let me put a writer to it. Rahul, taking it forward with you, right, Rahul.
Yeah.
You see, the article, the view is this, that thou must be with Pakistan on Balakot. Second,
No.
second rule
I
is,
didn't
rule
say
of
that.
thumb is,
I said we don't know yet. The
sir,
full
I
facts.
told you that a media organization suggested that India failed in Balakot.
Yeah.
It was proven to be wrong. Why did they put out that piece?
No, all I can say.
No, why would they?
I don't know why. Why should you ask me?
No,
Why
but
should they
that's
put it?
a worry. I'll tell you why I think they
All
did.
I'm saying is that.
So I'll
we
tell you
still
why.
don't know
Sir, I'll tell you
all the
why. No,
facts.
Rahul,
We
of
don't
course,
know the
Rahul,
facts.
of course we know.
We don't know
I
the
feel
facts.
that this was happening around March 2019. Allow me to complete.
BJP campaigning
Allow me to
for
complete.
2019
Allow me to
general elections.
Saira, allow me to complete. You see, I think what was happening was that in March 2019, the group that hated the thought of Modi coming back was worried that after Balakot, Modi had a real chance of coming back. And hence, unless it joined a negative and false campaign to prove that Balakot was a failure, Modi would chest thump his way to victory, which actually Modi didn't chest thump at all, but he won remarkably. Because this group was nervous about the Congress being thrown out of Indian politics, which has happened to it, because they had vested interests with the Congress, they had become part of a political lobby. May I present that perspective, please? Otherwise, it defeats me. You know, when you write these kind of articles today and you attack your own people in your own profession, like this caravan which you mentioned, you know, it wrote an article titled One Solution, Gun Solution, with the article quoting lines from an alleged unnamed protester in Kashmir, saying, quote, Indian media are the culprit, they are the real terrorists, they are forcing us to become terrorists. Why would you give a platform to this? Is this journalism? And who are these unnamed terrorists? And why do they deserve a platform in the name of journalism? So who's fighting these battles? You know, they always praise Imran Khan. Another thing about them, Abhijit, Tuin, maybe you want to expand on this.
Absolutely.
Even when they were forced to release Wing Commander Abhinandan, certain Lutyens cabal journalists said Imran has done a great thing. However, TV anchors play it out. However, Modi spins it. Now, Modi looks like a fool and Imran looks like a god.
In fact,
am I misquoting these people? Please, you get into the debate.
I've been on record to say that the major Pakistan obsession of the regional parties in Kashmir has been a major deterrent in solving the Kashmir crisis. Just 3 days before Balakot.
Exactly.
Just 3 days before Balakot, Mehbooba Mufti had issued a statement saying Modi should learn from Imran Khan. And did she make a statement after Balakot? What did she? The first tweet was Pakistan should not be blamed. We should probe it. So every time these politicians have given a leeway to Pakistan. And just one more important point. I've been on several debates with Majid and he likes to play the victim. He keeps saying that Kashmir's identity has been taken. You know why Kashmir has lost its identity? Because you played ball to the fake narrative of the Abdullahs for the last 70 years. No, neither Article 370 nor 35A were linked to Kashmir's accession with India. Let me complete.
Your BJP.
Kashmir's
BJP was the first to give chance to Umar Abdullah.
absolutely unconditional. And Article 35
BJP was the first government to
May
bring Umar Abdullah.
1954,
BJP
7
gave
years
chance to
after Kashmir
PDP.
became a part
It
of
is
India.
BJP,
But you
not
continued
in fact,
for your
RSS,
vested interest
which is
to
the mother
support
of
the
all
fake
evils.
narratives of India. That is why you lost
I say today that this is political. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why this is political. Saira earlier picked up the Pehlu Khan case. And I was just thinking about that, Saira. She asked the question of Pehlu Khan. But let me tell you that on 29 June 2019, the Congress government charge-sheeted Pehlu Khan for cow smuggling. I want to know how many candlelight vigils were there in India Gate on that, Abhijit? I didn't see any. Because they want to protest, but they don't want to embarrass. And I also want to ask you today that in February, the Congress ruled Madhya Pradesh invoked the National Security Act, NSA, against 3 people arrested in connection with cow slaughter in Khargone. Were there any protests on that? None at all out there. Because issues are issues. If it relates to the BJP, they're a bunch of marauders, intolerant party and a bunch of fascists. But if the Congress does the same, they are doing it to protect law and order in this country. What a shame, I say. What a shame.
A sitting member of parliament has serious allegations of terrorism. I'm sorry to say. And she is accusing the opposition for casting an evil eye, for doing sorcery and black magic in 21st century. I mean, has she lost her mind today? You're accusing the opposition of practicing black magic.
No, you want to pick up a statement here and there.
Oh my God. It is hilarious.
Abhijit, no, I'm not.
Hugo Chavez said America had a machine that was giving socialist icon was saying that America is a machine that gives cancer to all South American leaders. And then Cristina Kirchner, the president of Argentina, also socialist, validated it.
Well, he's speaking.
So I'm sorry.
Okay, Rahul, let me provoke you a bit. Rahul, let me ask you a thing. Rahul, listen to me. What is the good that is happening in this country?
Excuse me, sir.
1 minute. Listen to my question.
I'm the only Kashmiri not being given a chance to defend
I'm not
Kashmir.
talking of Kashmir now. I'm saying there is a media narrative in this country which is going on, Savio, saying what? Over the last 6 years, they say India is nosediving. India is imploding. India is going down the drain, right? Since Modi came to power, everything is over. Savio, ask them today.
Kashmiris have
Oh God, you know this Kashmir obsession. I'm not even talking of Kashmir.
You look at the floods. You look at the deaths of leaders.
Savio, I know that on September 7th.
Kashmiris have cursed this. ये देश को समझना होगा कि कश्मीरियों की बददुआ नहीं है.
Wait.
Just because you did a breach of trust, we have been backstabbed after 72 years.
Yeah.
We were deceived by Pakistan for 30 years, but we have been backstabbed by India after 72 years.
In 6 years, the GDP rate is the lowest in 6 years.
Can I continue?
FDI
What are you Googling? Is Nishant messaging you?
40 years.
First time in 6 years, the car sales have fallen to 16%.
May I? What are you reading?
42 million unemployed.
What is your source?
42 million unemployed.
Saira, thank you. Saira, thank you. Saira, you completed all the research you got.
Modi 2.0
Thank you.
is a reflection of Modi.
To skirt this, 370 has come in.
370 has come in. Yes.
That's the reality.
As
They
far
want
as
to
I know,
skirt the economy.
Atik, you want to speak?
That's why 370, the entire bogey of it, they want to harp on it and they want to blame the international media for it.
Okay, now
GDP has fallen.
you know I had this word this week.
To 5% from 5 to 8.
You know, no,
Did you tell me, is it a lie? Is it a lie?
Sir, let's assume what you're saying is
Abrogation of 370, the biggest lie.
Let's assume what you're saying is true.
Okay, Kayamat. As I said, there's a phrase for it. There's a phrase. I am speaking to you, Atik. Will you tell the two people on your right to be quiet for a while? Atik, first time I'm getting you into the debate, right? Listen to me and let them show the respect to allow you. Atik, I had this phrase this week, prophet of doom, as they say in Urdu, Kayamat ke Nabi. Don't be a Kayamat ke Nabi. You will debate now with Savio.
So you admit there is a Qayamat.
आप उनके नबी उसके
So you
नबी
admit there is a Qayamat.
No.
Now you are in fact, going against your words.
Forget.
You have admitted there is a Qayamat.
Forget
Okay.
automobiles. Household goods are not moving.
Saira, will you stop?
Household goods are not moving.
Saira, why are you shouting? Saira, why are you shouting?
Abhijit, say assume. So all our assumptions.
Saira,
All our assumptions.
Biscuits are not
What are you assuming? Security threat. Security is the assumption.
That then makes them Modi stooges, na? It means they've been bought out by Modi to propagate that line so that he can create the diversion.
Can I say a word? Saira, will you stop? Saira, will you stop?
Diversion for the economy.
No.
Then CNN and BBC are Modi stooges.
You see, what I'm saying is, Nitin, is that I am saying that on 7th of September, Chandrayaan 2 will soft land in the south polar region of the moon, right? I don't have a problem with the New York Times people who believe this country is a country of snake charmers, because it's not. We are at the epicenter of the changing world order. I know 5% is worrying, but we are still the fastest growing economy in the world. And we were there, right there with the G7. We are ending multidimensional poverty in this country at the fastest pace. We must sometimes acknowledge that some good is happening in the country. That's not the core purpose of the debate. But Nitin, can you please tell some members on your side to mention any one or two good things happening in this country?
I'll do that myself.
Tell me.
If you allow.
Yes.
The first good thing which I have found in these 3 or 4 months, 5 months is great marketing by the government of India. Great marketing, which was never there. One second. Second is about the Balakot.
So you don't find that 85% of this country having access to electricity acknowledged by the World Bank, this leap in electrification is anything substantial? You feel it is just marketing?
It's
just tell me, sir.
It's
Just-
harping.
It's what?
It's harping
It's harping.
Harping what, sir?
About
Harping
the,
what, sir?
what the deeds have been done.
Sir, when
They have
the
to be
World
shown.
Bank says...
They have to be shown.
So when the World Bank says, and I know that all of you appreciate the World Bank at least, when the World Bank says that India's transport network is one of the largest, it is third in the world after China and the United States, you feel it is marketing, sir?
They say it and we believe it.
No,
but when
no,
we
no,
say it,
I just don't understand.
we say it, that
Sir,
Kashmir
please,
is under...
Savio, I give up. I give up with this group.
No.
I mean, if this is going to be understanding...
You don't have to give up. You have to listen.
No, I'm constantly
Nitin,
trying to make you understand.
okay.
You know,
Let's look at this from an economic point.
Okay, so everything in India is bad, right? According to these prophets of
We
doom.
look at it purely from an economic point of view.
Which takes me to my second point, by the way. I said the second checkbox is the media fetish. You believe that the holy grail is only the BBC, whether the Western media have the facts or not, whether they have proof or not. But oh my God, the BBC has said it. The undertone is that since the Western media has said it, it must be taken as gospel. You know, why don't you ask yourself whether you've been led up the garden path? I truly think you need to ask yourself. I am constantly provoking you. You are unable to reply. 5 of you sitting on one side have lost the debate single-handedly.
Certainly not. Certainly not. The only thing is that you're talking about the fetishness for the Western thing. But why not about India?
No, I don't understand. What did you say?
I don't understand what you're saying.
You said that we are only concerned that whatever the international press says, that is gospel truth, right? This is what the thing is.
Sir, I am asking.
No, that is not what we have said. We have never said that. We are just saying that the Indian press is also responsible for the fake.
Why are you after the Indian press? A certain media media outlet in Khan Market publishes a news report citing the BBC with the headline saying, quote, nationalism a primary reason for fake news in India, BBC report. And in that article, Abhijit, it starts by calling the BBC report as an quote-unquote in-depth research project. You're putting out a so-called research project as journalism. What do you know about Indian nationalism? How is the BBC an authority on that? You are using colonial era BBC to describe Jai Shri Ram as a murder cry. On the 10th of July, a Lutyens journalist tweeted, BBC News : the Hindu chant that became a murder cry. On what basis are you calling Jai Shri Ram a murder cry? Well, you know, I am sorry. Who is the BBC to equate a Hindu chant with a murder cry? And why is it not? Why don't you protest about it?
Answer that. A very nice spiritual slogan is misused if you say, "Hey, Allahu Akbar bolo, warna main lynch karunga." Hey, Jai Shri Ram bolo, warna main lynch karunga.
Come on, Savio, please respond. Why is quiet, Savio? Why don't you respond to that? This is unadulterated garbage.
First of all, let's just unpack.
When it is used as a tool,
come on.
I've lived in Syria for a while.
Abhijit, come on, Savio.
It is used for everything. If it's something good, it's Allahu Akbar. If it's something bad,
in
it's
the
Allahu Akbar.
world, do you know what is the most scary slogan in the world?
Go on.
That terrorists have been using? Should I name it?
No.
We believe that Jai Shri Ram cannot be Arnab or Oslo slogan. But a minister of the government claiming that NASA claims the future of computers to be Sanskrit.
No, you are. You know the problem with you is.
No, NASA has claimed it. NASA has claimed it.
You guys are trying
Your
to
minister, the government of India,
so that fascists can thrive.
Absolutely.
NASA claims the future language of computers shall be Sanskrit.
No.
That's not fake news.
Rajlakshmi is coming in. Let Rajlakshmi come in. Savio.
So tomorrow.
Cyrus, stop.
So tomorrow you want some Western scholar to come and tell you that this Sanskrit is the most suitable language for using computers? Is that when you will believe it?
The idea
is that how you want it to be done?
I'm not allowed to finish.
The
question is not that, Rajlakshmi. The whole propaganda of de-intellectualizing the country so that you make it a potential ground so that fascists can thrive.
Where did you learn this from?
Fascists can succeed.
This is about taking bribes. This is about taking bribes.
That is why you're trying to demonize JNU. That is why you're trying to demonize Delhi University. That is why you're trying to demonize Aligarh Muslim university.
This kind of linguistic parochialism happens in every country. Do you know the only reason Ursula von der Leyen was chosen as the president of the EU?
Saira, she's speaking. Saira is speaking. Saira is.
Have you read Mr. Amartya Sen's works?
Do you know?
You call him as
Sorry.
One minute. Can I? Just 1 minute, please.
He's a Nobel laureate.
Saira, 1 minute. One minute, please. 1 minute.
Are you a Sanghi laureate? You are a Sanghi laureate. You are a Sanghi laureate. So what
if he's a Nobel laureate?
I don't know, Saira, how you are behaving today.
Brandish the country in a particular way.
But today it seems Nishant Verma has tutored you before this debate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say
His
that.
ghost has entered your
You
spirit.
all shout and scream and you all indulge in jigwasam. So we need to
which people like to try to create. If a criminal,
this is like a fight between
Saira, what are you doing? Saira, what are you doing? What are you doing?
If a criminal, let me complete. You made some very trivial allegations. If you made some very trivial allegations, let me respond to them.
After that, I will come to you. I will come to you. I will come,
My
Majid.
esteemed panelist over here had just made this statement that in the last 3 months, the biggest achievement of this government is marketing. Let me counter that. You know what the biggest achievement of this government has been? It has proved that in politics, till now, the perception was politicians believed in keeping problems alive. We have solved a problem, taking all the rest. Indira Gandhi had the option of abrogating Article 370 twice in 1971, and after she, got Farooq Abdullah replaced by this dummy called GM Shah. But she rather chose to keep the problem alive. We solved it. That's the intention.
The issue is not of Kashmir. The issue is of the media. The issue is not the Kashmir. The issue is of the media. Atikur Rahman, 1 minute. Atikur, I have to stop now. Atikur, enough. I didn't want to shout, but you people are misbehaving with me. Atikur, the discussion is on the media. And this is a media debate. Okay? So let's go back to the media. I now want to point out factual inaccuracies, mistakes, and mistruths. Point number 1. One Khan Market portal says, Rahul, that Modi government duly informed the United States and almost took its permission about scrapping 370 twice last week and in February. And this article came out some time back. You know, the American government actually came out and clarified that the Indian government did not consult or inform the US government at all. I wonder, why would such reports be published if they were not motivated and intended to harm India diplomatically? Secondly, think about it. An entire barrage of journalists, including a cocktail columnist, got the War and Peace reference of a Mumbai High Court judge wrong. And Judge Kotwal clarified that he was reading the list of all books and series seized. He didn't even mean that the material was incriminating, and there was no reference to War and Peace at all. It was about some other book. Now, allow me to complete, Saira. Allow me to complete. Do not ever repeat trolls. The problem with you is, being a troll is a bad thing, but being a troll influenced by another troll is another, and you're heading in that direction. The question is, that was a lie. Thirdly, a certain print publication put out articles authored by the editors claiming Defense Ministry protested against PMO undermining Rafale negotiations and cited Ministry of Defense documents. I'm talking about the Hindu. What was the fact? The fact that a letter cited inconveniently omitted the bottom half of the document. Cut that out.
That is not known to anybody.
Publish it was put out by Republic, and it proved. Majid. Now you know Majid. A certain letter. A letter cited conveniently omitted the bottom part, Savio, you know of the document, that proved that no objection was raised with regard to negotiations, but only concerns regarding general terms and conditions. At whose behest, Savio, were facts misappropriated, considering that Rahul Gandhi immediately within hours did a press conference saying this proves that Chaukidar chor hai. Now, when I am proving all these examples, I am simply asking one broader question. So many mistakes are not mistakes. They are agendas. So there is an agenda, and I wish that you enter the debate with only one point tonight. That if there is an agenda, we wish to inform people on this side who have already lost the debate, most unfortunately, that please understand. No, Savio, please understand. Why would someone put out so many lies?
Arnab, too selective you are today. Too selective.
Arnab, you always side with the right.
conspiracy
You always side with the
by
right
the
wing.
media.
What are you saying? What? I'm doing Rahul. Rahul.
Basically,
so you
what you're saying.
Saira, I can't hear Rahul even though he's sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Can you be quiet, please, Saira? Rahul.
Basically, you're saying that there's a conspiracy by certain sections of the media and that they have an agenda.
Yes.
I don't believe that.
Yes, I am saying that.
Yeah, that's.
I am saying that.
But I don't.
Not only that.
I don't believe that.
Sir,
at all.
tell me one thing.
Yeah.
When a particular news channel says, with questionable funding, now being investigated by regulators on all sides, rightly so, and agencies, it says that a shopkeeper was killed in Srinagar. You know what it says? It says 65-year-old Ghulam Muhammad was killed by suspected terrorists. Would you kindly tell me, Rahul ji, why would you call terrorists as suspected terrorists? It's like the boring broadcasting corporation calling Kashmir Indian occupied Kashmir.
Not been defined as terrorists, sir. Gautamwadis have not been defined as terrorists.
No, you tell me honestly. You tell Abhijit, tell Savio, debate with them, not me.
Yes.
No, all I'm asking.
Why would a Indian media house not call a terrorist a terrorist? That means you are on the side of those sponsoring the
Because
terrorists.
some channels are not describing the Gautamwadis
please,
as
Savio
terrorists.
and
That is the
Abhishek,
problem.
come on.
We have seen how Muslims have been lynched, how Syed Muhammad Afrozul was set ablaze much in the media
China occupied
and then
Pakistan.
nobody turned him a
That is
terrorist.
precisely what it is.
Let's just take this analogy further. Since you brought up
Yes,
Sadhi
yes.
Pragya,
Thank
let's
you
just
for
take
coming in,
religion
please,
and
sir.
language. All right.
I said she
One
is the
second,
mother
one
of
second.
saffron
I
terror
understand.
as per Hemant
I
Karkare,
understood.
who is supposed to be a martyr abused by
And
her.
she believes in black magic. Now, now let's look at other things. Now, look at the way Sadhvi Pragya is covered, or say Hindi imposition is covered, and let's contrast this with the way CNN, say for example, covers France and
Why
the Pope.
didn't Indian
One sec,
media
Majid,
contest Sadhvi Pragya getting
you
a
made
ticket?
a point, let me answer.
Why was Indian
Let me
media
answer.
silent on a terrorist getting a
Majid,
ticket?
you made 2 points, one on religion, and let's look at language as well. Let me counter that. Pope, the current Pope, Bergoglio, he believes in good and evil. He believes in miracles. So how is that any different from Sadhvi believing in black magic? But one is good, one is not.
Do we have a papal government? Do we have a papal government in the country?
France,
One of you, not both of you. You decide who's speaking.
hang on.
One of you. One of you. For God's sake, so undisciplined.
Do we have a saffron pope here?
CNN has
Shouting,
an
sir, please tell them.
Do we have a Goswami pope? Who is the pope here? Who is deciding? Do we have a
believing everything to be gospel truth? Literally.
Do we have a papal governance? You decide
France.
first.
Okay, Majid.
You have lost it.
France vetoes candidates at the UN if they can't speak French.
Here we are quoting
candidates at the
a member
UN
of
who can't speak
parliament
French.
who is speaking
Yet
black
one
magic.
is targeted
We are
for
not consulting the
parochialism
Pope.
and chauvinism,
Sir, can
the
I-
other is not. Why?
Savio.
Why?
Savio.
Belief in black magic is as
Savio.
stupid as believe in miracles.
concern is
And yet the
terror.
Pope is somehow respectable and this one is not.
And the rights of the
Sir, both of you
It
don't.
doesn't make any sense.
Savio!
I just divert.
We
Savio,
are here to discuss the most, impending problem, that is Kashmiris. When shall
What
the rights of the
about
Kashmiris-
Balochistan?
Where will the communication be restored? Answer this question.
Listen.
If you are too serious
Kashmir is
about
off the
rights,
radar.
if you are too
It is purely
serious
a
about
media, figment of
370,
media creation.
answer the
I'm
question
sorry, no
on the
government, no
impending
government,
problem
no
of the
nation,
nation.
there is
The
no
nation
Kashmir.
wants to know
My God.
the communist communications
governments
So I
will be
want to talk
restored in
about the
Kashmir.
media.
That's
I want
all.
to talk about the media. I am not having a Kashmir debate, damn it. I am talking about the media. I want Savio to come in. Savio, listen to me. Savio, Majid, wait. Savio.
Kashmir is not supposed to be human.
I ask you.
Kashmir is in a state of statelessness.
I ask you today. 1 minute. Majid, wait. Majid, I have a question for you. Thank you. Majid, I have a question for you. Majid. Oh God, no, will you stop? Majid,
He was yesterday about to get arrested on the airport.
it would have been
Because
good.
there were no internet services.
You see, you believe.
He came out.
I am amazed at a few points I want to make in the course of today's debate. And Saira, are you anchoring the program? Will you stop?
The deep sea.
Okay, Majid.
The devil is on the saffron side, the deep sea is the other side of the- across the
I'm
fence.
speaking to you, Majid. Thank you. See, one observation. you believe, one thing I've realized in the course of this debate is you will believe the West when it comes on Kashmir, but you won't believe the West or the World Bank when it comes to India's electrification. Secondly, I have also come to the conclusion that Sadhvi Pragya has become the Hindu equivalent of the Pope. Anyway, now I have another question. This section of the media which I describe, this section of the media which I describe as Lutyens.
This is blasphemy against Christian religion. No, how can you compare a terror, mother of saffron terror with a Pope? No, sorry. No. This is blasphemy. No, this is blasphemous. This is blasphemous. I stand for my Christian brothers. No, you please be quiet. I am standing for my Christian brothers.
Don't ever tell me to be quiet.
You be quiet.
Okay?
You be quiet.
Don't tell me to be quiet.
I will ask you to be quiet. I have been listening to you. I have been listening to your nonsense for the last 1.5 hours.
You are talking nonsense. You are a divider.
Yes, I will divide people between humanity and satanity.
You don't think India. That's your problem.
You are the ones comparing Sadhvi Pragya to the Pope.
You have a sinister design against the minorities.
You
have a sinister design. You have a sinister design. If you
okay, I have a question.
My sinister design is India. And I will throw all the anti-nationals out.
Majid,
the idea of India is not I will throw all the anti-nationals out. Keep that in mind. Not be sinister.
Arey yaar, jaao pe. Hata 70 ka
I you know, when you stop, I want to stop heckling, gentlemen. One sec. I've been trying for the last 10 minutes. I'm only asking this group, this media, that why do you never, if Pakistan, Majid, wait. If you are talking about Pakistan all the time, why does your conscience not let you talk about other issues concerned to Pakistan? For example, if you have made 40, 100 mentions of Kashmir or Pakistan, why have you not mentioned Balochistan or Gilgit-Baltistan? There is not a word, interestingly, from this section of the media on violence against Sikhs in Pakistan, right? They have dedicated sections for how India has become communal. They don't even celebrate.
Punjabi saying, "Kar khanuni amma peen gayi hai."
What is it?
We are living a miserable life in Kashmir, and he is asking us to talk about Pakistan and the miseries in Balochistan. Kar khanuni amma peen gayi hai means you have no.
You have to come in.
Has to end, Majid. You know, for the last 70 years, you have played this victim card. That has prevented the full integration of Kashmir with India. If you talk about Kashmir, you have to go back 1,000 years. You have to go back 1,000 years. This was the land with Ali Shankaracharya had explored in the 8th century. This was the land which had free trade with Central Asia throughout the 13th and 14th century. But Article 370 and Article 35 had reduced Kashmir to a ghetto, and people like you supported the fake narrative of the Abdullah Mufti. So please don't take them again. You know, today when you talk about fake news, I think we should also applaud the services of two people, especially Arnab. I want to mention the...
What is your motivation? What is your motivation?
Unfortunately, these people don't have faith in some exemplary Indians, Kashmiri Indian, Shahid Chaudhry, the DM of Kashmir, and the IGP. And the DIG. Do you think they are peddling news? They expose your fake news all the time. Are they not Kashmiris? Are they any lesser Kashmiris?
Sir, we are discussing media pertaining to Kashmir
for the last 70 years, and I blame the two regional
Why
parties.
shouldn't Republic report the atrocities in Kashmir? Why is Republic silent on the atrocities in Kashmir? We have no communication.
You question me?
To live.
Oh, they question me. They now come down to Republic. One second. You came down to Republic. No. You came down to Republic. Then I ask you one thing. I'll ask 3 questions. You'll have to be quiet. Ask all the questions on Republic, but I want to ask you, are certain Khan market-run media portals adamant on portraying India in a negative light and as a Hindu Rashtra because their founder editors are citizens of the United States of America? Is it a coincidence or external motivation that the same channels who revel in calling terrorists suspected terrorists are those whose top brass has been booked for questionable foreign funding and financial conspiracy? And are the motivations of those ideating for Pakistan in the name of journalism who say, you know, Pakistan can only now carry out terrorist attacks like Pulwama when these were the people who were on the payrolls of Congress leader on flop channels. They were working for flop Congress channels till July.
You say that Kashmiris are Indian citizens. Why is
shame on these people?
Why is my pain not paining you?
Peddlers of lies.
Why is my pain not paining you? You are hypocrites.
Of course
you are hypocrites. You are silent. You don't relate
but I must have written at least 20 articles.
How do you say you're not?
How do you say you're not?
Hundreds of youth arrested. Hundreds of youth tortured.
this show, you know,
what is happening in Kashmir?
Just one second. What the Abdullahs and the Muftis have done, that's another question.
Saira spoke a lot. I won't spare Saira now. No. Saira spoke a lot through the entire program. 1 minute, Saira. 1 minute, Saira. 1 minute. Let me, please. Saira spoke a lot in the course of the program. You know, Saira, when Pakistan captured Wing Commander Abhinandan, you, Saira Shah Halim, Twitter address at Saira Shah Halim, said, "Thank you, Imran Khan, leader of the PTI."
Was it hacked?
Thank you, Imran Khan. You treated Abhinandan with so much respect that he deserves. Thank you, Imran Khan. Was it you? Was it you?
Humanity speaking. That was humanity speaking. No, that was humanity speaking.
And I haven't finished. And Savio, I haven't finished with Saira. Saira, listen to me. You, Saira. You, Saira. 1 minute. You, Saira. You, Saira. 1 minute. You, Saira. Saira, you, Saira. You, Saira on the 29th of August.
Nothing wrong.
She tweets a picture of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A meme in which he is reading Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace. And she says,
Urban Naxal who?
Urban Naxal who?
Of course, it was a pun. It was a pun.
But you were peddling fake news.
It was, no.
You were peddling fake news. You are a peddler of fake news, Saira.
Yeah, the author talks about Jungle Meher.
You are caught red-handed. You are squirming. You have nowhere to go now. You've been demolished on the debate.
Jungle Meher. Jungle Meher, the author talks about the
Saira, Rajalakshmi, go on. Rajalakshmi, unsparing attack. Rajalakshmi is on the debate. Yeah, we are making a comeback now. Thank you.
1 second.
Yeah, come on, Saira. Come on, Rajalakshmi, come on.
You need to say,
Yeah, you speak up, Rajalakshmi.
You say
Okay, Rajalakshmi.
So the author
Rajalakshmi Joshi.
succeeded from the Indian Republic.
Who tweeted about somebody who died because there was communication failure?
Saira, you've been caught.
Author's bluff. I'm calling out the author's bluff on Leo Tolstoy. Though War and Peace, he meant War and Peace in Jungle Meher. And he refers to Jungle
Rajalakshmi is on the debate with
as
Saira.
a foreign territory.
Rajalakshmi, Saira, please stop. Thank you. 1 minute on the debate. We're closing remarks. Rajalakshmi.
She spoke about a journalist who said that there was a death because of communication failure. And the truth is that there should have been a resident doctor.
Madam, nobody
there should have been a resident doctor. There is a lot of
knows the truth.
How many youth have been arrested?
No. About youth they arrested also. Even about the youth arrested.
Republic TV report about laboratories
Even about youth
Republic TV
arrested.
report about how youth are being tortured.
Even
And did
about youth
Republic TV
arrested.
say that this abrogation is a legislative fraud? This abrogation of Article 370 is a legislative fraud.
Unsanitary hospital.
Report that.
Even that whole piece was written in a way to exonerate the hospital when in fact it is one of the most criminally culpable hospitals.
Nobody knows the truth about
Worst
Kashmir.
hospital.
Well, I will only tell you one thing.
Reporting that.
Everything is going on.
I will only tell you one
Indian
thing.
media versus Kashmir.
There's a fake perception being created.
What the Abdullahs and Muftis have done, another thing. But it saddens me
No.
that educated people like you.
Did any Indian media channel report how many thousand youth have
I thank you all, ladies and gentlemen.
You're in the mainstream.
Did Arnab ever say?
Okay. I am a great believer in democracy, and the media is at the heart. Media is at the heart of our democracy. But I need to tell you this: just because
Not be able to hold a debate in Kashmir.
yes.
He's talking about democracy.
I will hold a debate.
Will you be able to have this panel discussion in Srinagar? Will you be able to
do it in Kashmir.
We should.
Call it a legislative fraud, this abrogation of Article.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a good debate. We've had a good debate. My God. We've had a good debate. And I'd only say this, that I only hope and pray. Savio, Majid, I only hope and pray that as the days pass, we in the media lose our inhibitions and expose all those fake news peddlers with greater conviction and ferocity. See you tomorrow at 9. Goodbye.